Now, I've been a Turo host for going on 5 years now, and I've been a YouTuber making content about Turo for about 2.5 years. And over the years, I've been really adamant on my choice of not using trackers with my Turo fleet. But I have to admit, I think I was wrong. Recently, I have made the decision to add trackers into my fleet for every single one of my cars, and in today's video, I want to break down why I made this decision, what I've learned from this decision, and what I was and was not wrong about whenever it comes to GPS trackers. So let's get started. So for those of you who don't know, I have a 15-car Turo fleet. All 15 of my Turo cars are 100% rented out on Turo, meaning I don't drive any of these cars for personal use, and they mainly consist of lower-end economy cars, so things like Mazdas, Fords, Hyundais, Kias, some Toyotas, things like that. And for virtually the entire time that I've been a Turo host, I have not used GPS trackers with my Turo fleet. Now, for those of you who may not know what a GPS tracker is in the context of Turo and peer-to-peer car sharing, let me briefly explain. Now, for the context of peer-to-peer car sharing, you can buy a GPS tracker that goes into your car, and that way you can track the location of your car through your phone or through your computer. Now, depending on what type of tracker you get for your car, it can also do a lot of different functions as well. For example, some trackers can let you know if you have a check engine light that has come on, some can unlock and lock your doors, others can kill your engine. But for the purpose of this video, we're just going to be talking about general GPS trackers where their sole purpose or main purpose is to track the location of your car. And so in this context, the general purpose of these GPS trackers is to be able to locate your car in the case that a car is stolen or it's simply not returned. Now, over the years, I've been pretty upfront and honest about my lack of desire for having trackers in my cars, and I've made a number of videos on this topic. In fact, almost exactly 2 years ago, I made a video talking about this, and to this day, it is one of my most disliked videos on my channel. But when it comes down to it, there are a few different reasons as to why I've been so against trackers over the years. The first reason is cost and money. The reality is, whenever I first got started with Turo, I didn't have a ton of funds, and I was investing every single dollar I was making back into the Turo business to try to get another car. Now, granted, trackers have gotten significantly more affordable over the years, but back whenever I initially looked into it, whenever I was first getting started with Turo, I just simply couldn't justify the cost of adding these devices to my vehicles, especially if it meant that that money wasn't going to be allocated to buying another car. The second reason is purely the mindset that Turo would take care of me. Over the years, I've had a really good experience with Turo handling any and all claims that I've thrown at them, from cars getting totaled, from cars getting in accidents, from cars getting stolen. And because of this, I never felt like there was a sense of urgency of getting trackers installed into my vehicles. Now, I will admit that this really does come down to just being lucky, because I have heard of many hosts that haven't had the same luck as I have. But over the years, relying on Turo to help me get my cars back has worked really well, so I never felt like there was a sense of urgency in getting trackers to keep track of my cars. And last but certainly not least is the out of sight, out of mind aspect of running your Turo fleet. I've always considered myself to be a really out of sight, out of mind Turo host. What this means is that if my cars aren't in my possession, if I don't have them with me, I really don't think about them. I don't care if a guest goes across the country in my cars. I don't care if they're running errands. I don't really care what they're doing with the car. As long as I follow the terms of service and as long as I'm protected by Turo, what the guest does, it just isn't my problem. But over the years, as I've grown my Turo fleet, of course, more and more things have gone wrong. And over the last 6 months, I've had 4 total losses, and I have had 3 cars that have gone missing. And I finally threw my hands up and said, you know what, maybe enough is enough. So after all of these things happened, at the beginning of this year, I started researching trackers to figure out which one I would want to add to my Turo fleet. And then I promptly put it on the back burner and didn't think about it for a couple of more months until very recently, whenever I was looking to change insurance providers for my Turo fleet. And whenever I wanted to change insurance providers, the provider that I chose to insure my fleet required me to have trackers for my cars. And so at that point, it kind of made the decision for me. I could no longer procrastinate on this issue, and I had to buy trackers for my cars. So that's exactly what I did. So I switched insurance providers, they made me get trackers, so I bought a bunch of them, I installed them into my car, and now I've been running a GPS tracked fleet for about 1 month. And I have to admit, I think I was wrong, and I probably should have gotten these a long time ago. So now that we know why I got trackers, let's dive into what I do like about them and what I don't like about them. So let's first talk about what I really like about trackers. And some of these benefits may sound like obvious benefits to you because it's kind of the entire point of a tracker. But for me, I've really valued these much more than I anticipated. So number one is just having the kind of umbrella safety net protection of having a tracker. Being able to keep an eye on your cars at all time to make sure that they're running smoothly, that nothing's going wrong, knowing roughly where they're located. There has been a nice feeling associated with that, and there's a bit of an added sense of security, which I definitely value. Number two is whenever it comes to late returns. This has been a huge benefit that I did not expect. I mentioned a few moments ago how I run my fleet with a very out of sight, out of mind mindset. If a guest is late, no big deal. It'll be back soon. No need to worry. But one thing that I've learned over the last month of having trackers is that I'm really able to get in front of issues before they become an issue. For example, I've had a number of guests over the last month tell me, hey, I'm running a little bit late. I'll be there in about 15 minutes. And then I pull up the tracker on my phone to find out that they are still parked in front of their house and they're still about 45 minutes to an hour away. Being able to be aware of that and plan for that is something that has been a huge benefit. Additionally, being able to get in front of issues before they become issues. For example, 2 weeks ago, I had a guest that was supposed to return my car at 1:00 p.m. It was going out on another rental 3 hours later, so there was a relatively close period of time between the return and the next pickup. So HP and I look at our phone at 1 p.m. to see if the car had been returned so that we can go check it in, and we noticed that it's parked at DFW Airport. We texted the guest to see what was going on, if we could expect to get the car returned, and no surprise, she didn't answer the phone. Now, had we not had the trackers, I would have just had to sit around, blow up her phone, text her and call her, and then contact Turo support to cancel the upcoming reservation because I would have had no idea where my car was. But because of the fact that I had a tracker on this car, I could very easily see that the car was parked there. It had been parked there all night, which left me to believe that the car had been abandoned. So HP and I got into her car, we went to go pick up our car from the airport, and we had it ready by the next rental. Now, this type of thing doesn't happen often, so it's kind of funny that happened within a few days of putting GPS trackers into the car, but it's a huge value to know where your cars are in case something does go wrong. And on that exact same point is being able to see if a car has been returned. This is very minor because I live very close to where my cars are located. It doesn't take me that long to drive down to my parking lot, but being able to look on my phone quickly to see if a car has or has not been returned, it's been incredibly convenient. And of course, the added security of knowing that if my car gets stolen, I'll know exactly where it's located. That's a huge benefit in itself. Now, I've talked about what I do like, but now let's talk about what I don't like about having trackers. Now, one of the big benefits of not having a tracker is the out of sight, out of mind mindset that comes along with that. Not really caring where your cars are or what they're doing as long as they're okay and running fine. This is how I've always ran my Turo business, and I think it's really served me well over the years. But over the last month of having trackers, I've realized that I've really flipped this mindset quite a lot, and I find myself looking at my phone quite often throughout the day to see where my cars are and what they're doing. And this is something that I think has been particularly negative for me, in part because I'm already a naturally very anxious, very tightly wound person.
A fun fact about me is I've never been relaxed ever.
But then looking into my phone and being able to see that a car is in a different state or a car is 2 hours away whenever the rental ends in 1 hour, seeing those things, it just gets me really on edge very, very quickly. So I definitely think from like a mental health standpoint, not having trackers is more beneficial, but the benefits definitely far outweigh the negatives. And even though the fact that I do find myself more on edge with trackers, the benefit is well worth that cost. Now, these are just my initial thoughts and kind of the pros and cons that I've come up with after having trackers for just about a month, after not having them for about 4.5 years. And of course, I think my opinions and my thoughts on this will change as time goes on. But as things stand today, I definitely think I was wrong in not getting trackers earlier in my Turo career. And I think knowing where your cars are at all times, even if nothing's going wrong at the moment, is just a huge value add and a huge benefit, and the peace of mind that it gives you is well worth it. Now, the GPS tracking company that I use is called One Step GPS, and I do have an affiliate code with them. If you guys are interested in checking out that affiliate code, I will have that down in the description below. That will get you $10 off of your activation fee for your tracker. They're pretty affordable, they're super easy to use, and I actually became an affiliate with them after I started using them. So it's a company company that I chose to use just because I like their product. So if you're interested in checking that out, definitely do so. Their link will be down in the description below. But like always, you guys, I would love to hear your thoughts. If you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, I would love to hear it. So make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell. And I will see you guys in the next video.